unstoppable kick-ass confidence. Are you ready?
Welcome to the Raw and Unscripted show with Christopher Rausch, where we help you overcome your self-created crap without the self-help fluffy bullshit. Now please welcome our host, Christopher Rausch.
Welcome back, rock stars. This is another episode of the Raw and Unscripted show with yours truly, Christopher Rausch, your no excuses coach, and you are at your place where we help you overcome your self-created crap without the self-help fluffy bullshit. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Whether you're watching live on the video cast, which happens every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because I use a little colorful language, or you're listening to us on the podcast in any one of the 30 plus countries we are broadcasting to. We've been doing this for 6 years. This is episode number 329. Can you imagine 329 hours of me helping you achieve a kick-ass unstoppable life? I can. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it again tonight. Tonight's special broadcast. Well, recently I was asking you guys if you wanted questions answered. So that's one of my favorite shows to do is you guys send me questions. You can send them to me at info@noexcusescoach.com, noexcusescoach.com, info@noexcusescoach. You can send it to me on social media, wherever you want to do, and say, hey, Chris, I'd love for you to answer this question on the podcast. And so I got a bunch of those questions and I answered them. I believe it was last week. Shaking his head up and down. I'm just getting done being really, really badly sick. If you guys follow me on social media, you guys know that I had from Saturday night until Sunday night, real late. I threw up for like 18 hours nonstop, and it was beautiful. So I'm just getting back into the land of living. So thank you guys for being here. But in those questions that I received, one of the biggest comments or the questions that I got related to how do you come back from disappointment? How do you come back from rejection? How do you come back from being discouraged? Failure? How do you come back from a bad relationship? How do you come back from getting fired? How do you come back from losing a big customer? How do you come back from a fight? All these different things. How do you come back? How do you resolve? A lot of the core comments were around that. So I decided I'll answer the questions that week. This week, I've been working on bringing you this show, which is entitled The Brutal Truth About Bouncing Back. And so in that title, think about that. I just want you guys to prepare, tighten your belts, put your seatbelt on, because this is the brutal truth about bouncing back. This is the No Excuses Coach. This is the Raw and Unscripted show. So I'm going to bring you the truth. I'm going to bring you experiences from my life and from the people I've coached in my life about bouncing back, because yes, you can. And I wrote here, and I want to just actually read this to you. I normally don't read my promos to you guys, but the brutal truth about bouncing back. Setbacks are the gut punches life throws at us when we least expect it. Rejection, disappointment, failure, call it what you want. It stings. So tonight, what we're going to be talking about is the setbacks and the rejection. But here's a little bit of what you can expect in this episode tonight. Here's the questions, or here's the statements that I'm going to answer for you guys tonight. So I encourage you to write things down, take notes, engage with us in the comments. So here's what I'm going to be answering tonight. Why setbacks can be your greatest turning point if you handle them right. The mindset shift that turns rejection from a wound into wisdom. There's another one. How to stop the negative self-talk that keeps you stuck in disappointment. That's going to be a good one. We're also going to talk about the specific actions you can take immediately to reset and bounce back. We're also going to talk real talk about the cost of staying down, being a victim, or the rewards of getting back up. We're going to talk about that. So there's some truth in that. And here is the last one we're going to be talking about, but there's a lot more, I believe. How to write your own comeback story before life writes it for you. So again, this is based on your feedback, listening to the podcast, the viewers here. Thank you guys, Robert, for being here. I see Nellie's in the house. Hello, hello. Thank you guys for joining us. Appreciate that. So this is going to be a very straightforward communication. I've been doing more planning and more notes. You know, the show is called Raw Unscripted, but I really thought, how can I bring extra value, right? So I've been taking notes and doing stuff, and I believe it might come out in a book after my life story comes out in a book. If you guys go to itsjustyoumandmekid.com, you guys can get on the advanced mailing list for the book. It will be out in 2026. I apologize. I could write a book about writing a book and the process within that. When you write your life story, you have to confront a lot of stuff, and you have to think about things in vivid details, and then you have to give that to your editor. And I've gone through 3 editors because they couldn't really read my story. So we've had to dress it up a little bit so the truth doesn't hurt is bad, but it's still the truth, and it's still the way it happened. So when I think about disappointment and rejection and bouncing back from a setback, I think about my emotions. I think about that rejection. I think about the fear. I think about the anger. I think about resentment. Of course, frustration. We're frustrated, and a lot of it really stems from what our expectations are. Now, I was in leadership for 30 years, and I would hear this common phrase, "That's not what I expected," or "I expected this." And I kept hearing that from my staff. And I sat there and I thought, okay, I've got almost 30 people. Let's sit down with each of them and say, okay, what are your expectations for your immediate supervisor? What are your expectations for me as the director? What are your expectations for the company? And what are your expectations for your team? And so I had these people identify because I expected more money, and I thought, I'm like, okay, I want to hear why you expected that. I'd like to have a conversation with you. And I scheduled 30 minutes with everybody. So this took a lot of time. The 30 minutes wound up becoming an hour and a half, 2 hours, because people started sharing their true feelings and started sharing what their expectations were. And in some situations, they brought to attention things that I did not know, or things that their supervisor didn't know. Or in many situations, we were able to clarify how their expectation was misguided, if you want. So when you're thinking about your life, what are your expectations? What are your expectations for your personal friends? What are your expectations for your family? What are your expectations for your spouse, your significant other? What are your expectations for society? What is it? Like, take a moment to write it down, and then write those down, and then get with that person and understand through communication if that's realistic. So there's the key. Are your expectations realistic? Because if your expectations aren't realistic, guess what? You're going to have a lot of frustration and disappointment and anger and resentment and all those lovely feelings that go along with it. And like I said before, we're going to get to that. It's your choice. It's your choice whether you stay down and you bitch, piss, and moan about it and you be a victim. And it's also your choice to be able to dust off your scratches and go, fuck, that hurt. All right, let me do this again. How can I do this differently? So when I think about it, a lot of people will stay down, and what they do is they complain to everybody else. Oh man, this is how I was wronged. And they generally make themselves out to be the victim in the situation. And then misery loves company, We get that reinforcement that it's okay to be a victim. Right? When I go to my friends, when I go to Walt, when I go to Lee, when I go to Scott, when I go to anybody, Jock and Sally and all these different people that are huge mentors in my life, if I go to them with a pity party, they're going to start asking me questions like, Chris, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how did you plan for this? Did you give it everything you got, or did you fail back a little bit? Blah, blah, blah. You're known for this. Did you do this? You need people in your life, ladies and gentlemen. So what is it that you are frustrated and angry about and disappointed about and and then you can adjust your expectations. And I'll give you a classic example that's going on right now. I got people telling me about the news and the politics, and they're really, really frustrated. No matter where they're at, they're frustrated, they're disappointed, they expect this, and I expect this. And I'm like, okay, have you followed politics? Have you followed the news? Have you followed how it bleeds if it leads, or it leads if it bleeds? Have you found that it's constant negative news? Have you realized that? But yet your expectation that the government's going to fucking get their shit together and they're going to do this and do that, that's realistic. That's not realistic. Right? So you got to adjust your expectations, because otherwise you're going to be frustrated all the time. And I see people that are so frustrated. I'm like, number one, what are you doing to change it besides bitch about it? And a lot of people aren't changing what it is that they're bitching about it. Or they're saying, I've tried so many times. I'm like, tell me how many times you've tried, right? Look at the words that you use. Look at the words you do. I've done it so many times. Well, then do it fucking again, but don't do it the same way that you did it before. Right? It's about that clarity. It's about clarity in the direction that you're going. Right? So I look at that. So let's just jump into some of the statements that I set out for you guys, because I want to stick to more of a structure, I guess, in a way. So I want to keep myself guided, because I can talk for hours. And I do. And by the way, if you guys don't know this, I have a group coaching program that is completely, totally affordable. $50 a month, or you can get the advanced, the first class, whatever you want to call it, the premium, I guess we call it, for $149, and you get an hour coaching with me, which normally is $300. So there is no excuse. I put this out there, group coaching. Oh yeah, I got to check it out. And I had people check it out, and they were in it for a month, and I had fucking 6 to 10 people say they were coming back, and they didn't. And they're still doing the same shit. And I can see on their Facebook post that they're not doing it. And it's like, what? Like, why do you do that? So let's get into the first one. And feel free to ask questions as you are here, whether you're watching live or on the replay. If you watch on the replay and you ask questions, I'll make sure you guys get answers to them. So why setbacks can be your greatest turning point if you handle them right. So I thought of a number of setbacks that I have experienced in my life. One I'll tell you about because I've told you so many stories, but I don't think I've told you this one. But when I was working in my corporate job, I was approximately 25, 27, and I was really successful. I was an inventory planning analyst. I was inventory control person. What else was I? A traffic administrator. I was all these different things, but I went to my boss and I said, hey, I want to become a supervisor. And she, thankfully, direct, straightforward, honest. She goes, okay, Christopher, I understand that. And I can see that. I tell you what, your review is coming up. Can I give you a manager's review as opposed to a line staff review? And I was still hourly at that time. And I said, sure, no problem. Nah, I got this. I'm thinking I walk around the warehouse and I help people and I'm constantly giving solutions and identifications to problems and raising awareness and doing all these things. It's a no-brainer that I should not become a supervisor at the very least. I mean, thinking manager, but manager's got financial responsibilities. So I'll step into this. So I walk into my boss's office thinking, whoa, hot shit. This is going to be great. I'm going to get a supervisor's promotion. I'm going to get a whole bunch more money and all this other stuff. And so again, having honest people that are in your life that are direct, like myself, like Yvonne, like Dana, all these different managers and supervisors that I had in my life, I wouldn't be where I'm at today for not that honesty. So I went through and got the review. And of course, I got raving reviews on all the stuff that I had done. But because it was a manager's review, it involved people. And so what she did is she went out to the warehouse and she talked to the staff and said, hey, if Christopher was thinking about becoming a supervisor, how inclined would you be to support that decision? And unfortunately, but fortunately, again, this one's called If You Handle Them Right. So I had my review and then she proceeds to tell me the staff doesn't trust you. You walk around thinking you're a know-it-all. You make them feel stupid, all these different things. And I was like, are you kidding me? And so when you think about rejection and disappointment and fear, I want you to think about this. How am I taking this so personal? Or here's another question. Could they be right? And so when I was listening to my boss, Yvonne, was talking and saying and it went all this glowing stuff, and then came into the supervisor stuff and the manager stuff and said, no. Here's where you need to work. Here's what you need to do. Here's what you need to do. And the God's honest truth, I won't lie to you guys. I sat in that chair across from my boss and I'm like, fuck you. You're full of shit. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. I've been busting my ass here. I do more than anybody else. I'm here first and I leave last. And I had all these justifications in my brain. And I was like, this is bullshit. I'm going to get another job. They're going to fucking miss me. And I'm being serious with you guys. Again, it's how you handle setbacks can be your greatest turning point if you handle them right. That's what we're talking about right here. So it was a Thursday or a Friday. And so I had a couple of days to think about it and I was mad. But then as I was driving, I asked myself this question: could they be right? Could she be right? Maybe I'm seeing myself in a totally different light. And I was very young. So it caused me to have to shut up and say, Chris, could you be perceived as a know-it-all? Your mother's a know-it-all. You try to have a different tact with it, but maybe you don't. Maybe you need to take some leadership classes. Maybe you need to study some famous leaders. Maybe you need to get in the dirt and figure out how to become a better supervisor and manager and implement those actions in the next 12 months so that when you go back to your boss in a year and you say, hey, everything you said on my review, I did it in 6 months because I'm an overachiever and I will figure it the fuck out. Plus, here's the other things I did. And then my goal was not to make it overt, but to change my approach with the staff. Hey, I see what you're doing now. That's really good, man. I can see that you've increased your production. I have an idea. Do you mind if I share that? Yeah, Chris, whatever. You don't need to share. Okay, cool. No problem. Thanks. And then, somehow I will get the idea across, but I don't need to get across to that person. Maybe I'd go make a suggestion to somebody else who might go make a suggestion. So long as it gets done, I don't need the credit. So fast forward, I thank my boss. I walk back in there with my tail between my legs in my mind thinking, okay, I need to suck it up and redirect this. And so because of that turning point, because I looked to myself and say, hey, maybe you're part of the problem, not part of the solution. Maybe you think your shit doesn't stink and nobody else does. So you have an opportunity right now to shift. You have an opportunity to re-identify perhaps what your motivations are. So when you think about this, what are your motivations in what it is that you're doing, right? So I think about that. That was a point in time in my life that was a great turning point. Another one, You guys know this one. I was homeless at the age of 13 years old. I had to drop out of the 7th grade. I grew up in a very abusive household. I did not know my dad. I had no self-confidence. I could not communicate in front of people for love nor money because I was scared shitless of being told I was stupid or shut up or nobody wants to hear you. And I heard that a lot when I was a kid. So for me to go from being a homeless 7th grade dropout, going through all those things, digging in dumpsters, being hungry, not being in school, not having friends, not being a traditional kid, watching movies and being jealous, like, oh my God, I wish I was a normal person and had parents and a place to live right now. But because of that experience, again, it was the harder you fall, the higher you bounce. So many people in my position wound up being drug addicts. They wound up winding in crime and jail, and they wound up dead. And I can tell you that for honestly, because I know a few people that actually did. And I didn't. I wound up getting out and going and getting my GED at 18 years old. I wound up spending the next 12 years in college, getting a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. I graduated my master's degree the same year I bought my first house. So yeah, that was a turning point in my life because I realized that my mother blamed everybody else for her problems. It was everybody else's. And then I met my sister again after not seeing her for 20 years. And she was exactly like my mom and blamed everybody else. And I'm like, what would it be like if I didn't blame everybody else? And I started taking responsibility. Are you fuckers taking responsibility for your life and your actions? Yes or no? Are you? Or are you blaming, oh, because my parents did this, and my friends did that, and my teacher did this, and my priest did this? Listen, I understand. I have coached hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. I have spoken in front of thousands of people. I've had lots of conversations about personal development, and I understand. But you, again, get to choose whether you're going to be a victim or you're going to be a victor, whether you're going to let that moment break you or define you in your strength. I've talked to people who have been victimized by family members, and I'm like, maybe just hold everything in your brain for a second and just think about this. Maybe this all happened for you to become an advocate to change the shit that's going on. Maybe you're going to start counseling parents. Maybe you're going to help kids. Maybe you're going to start I don't know what it might be, but maybe this is the jumping point that you get to help maybe a few lives, 100 lives, 1,000 lives, 1,000,000 lives. Maybe it's something that you can do. You could take this rare instance because God gave it to you, whether you believe God, source, universe, whatever it might be. This happened for you, not to you, right? So you have this opportunity to rise up and to take that responsibility and say, what can I do with this, right? I'm not going to sit there and go, oh my God, right? And I'm not making fun of people who do that, but in a certain way, there's so many people that can tell the same story 1,000 times and be like, that's why I'm fucked up, and that's why I'm broke, and that's why I don't have a man, and that's why I don't have a woman, and that's why I can't keep a job, and that's why I can't get off drugs, and that's why I can't lose weight, because of all these things. You know what they are, right? They're excuses. What excuses do you have? Hey, Myrna, Mima? Is that what it is? Fisher, what's up? I thought does it say Myrna? I don't have my glasses on. Jack LaRose in the house. What's up? Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it. Michelle's in the house. She says here, she goes, my responsibility is to choose. I will respond regardless of what trauma I went through. I can use my life experiences to serve others. Exactly what I'm saying. Thank you, Michelle. That is so true, right? A powerful statement. I am, right? Who are you? What is your I am statement? I say I am love, which is weird for me to say because I've always been, disciplined, but when I think about in terms of one word, like if I'm love, I'm loving to myself. I'm loving to the people that hurt me. I'm loving to the people I disagree with. I'm loving to the people, right? When you give out love, you get more love back. And I'm not saying to love a child molester, but at the same time, what did that person go through? Because we know hurt people. And you look back, like what was the norm for my parents? My mother was born in 1942. Like, you think about the world wars and the depression and the recession and the and the fucking polio and all this different stuff. She grew up to parents that were young. They didn't know any different. They saw on TV. They saw the negative reinforcement. They saw the punishment. Oh, let me tell you the 17 things you did wrong, but forget to tell you anything that you did right. That wasn't malice. That wasn't intentional by their part. They were trying to make you a better person. They didn't fucking know. I still do shit as a parent. I'm fucking smart, but I still say shit to my son sometimes. Oh, fuck, that probably didn't come across as well. But guess what I do is I stop and I say, you know what? Daddy didn't say that right. I say, I apologize. I should say that a little bit differently. And I have a conversation with him. I said, when you're frustrated with somebody, don't just keep it inside, because guess what? So many people I talk to, and you guys hopefully are not it, but so many people I talk to, they say they're frustrated with somebody. And the first question I can ask, guess what question that is? I am frustrated with my wife. My first question is what? What? What are you frustrated about? No, usually the first question is, have you talked to your wife about this? Have you talked to your husband about this? Have you talked to your coworker about this? Have you talked to your best friend about this? Have you talked about the mechanic? No. How come? It's uncomfortable, and I'm afraid of what they're going to say, and I'm afraid I'm going to screw it up, and am I being too petty, and I'm da 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 da, and I'm all in your brain, and you sit there and you stew over it, and it creates stress, and it creates cortisol in your system, and it creates unhealthy situations. And guess what? Because you're unhealthy, you're not feeling good, you're pissed off, you're frustrated, you go to the thing that you know is certain. What is certain in your life? Oh, I can pick up my phone and I can watch TikTok videos, or I can go order something and get a stimulation from that. I can watch porn. I can play video games. I can listen to music. I could go beat somebody up, whatever it is. I can go drink. I can go, whatever it might be for you. Hey, if I go do this thing that's certain, I know the outcome I'm going to get. So guess what? We start doing more things that are certain, and we do less things that are uncomfortable because we think we're bad at it. We think we're horrible at it. What happens if they say this and da 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 da, right? I could go on with the things that have been a great turning point in my life. I put it down here: getting divorced at 23, getting laid off from my job in 2019. I've had so many situations that were redirects. It's not failure. It's a redirect. Can you write that down? I'm being redirected right now. When I walked into my job and I tell everybody I was invited to leave. It's a long story, but I was invited to leave. It was very sudden. I did not know it was going to be happening right then. I had an idea that it was going to be happening. I figured it was going to be communicated to me, expectations. Hey, Chris, this is going to happen. We're going to show you retiring, but we need you to go because, blah, 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 budgets. I knew it was all happening. We were owned by a private investor group. It was not, I knew, I'd already talked about it. Like, if they got rid of me, they could give this information. I already knew that, but I would appreciate it after 26 years. They could have said, hey, Chris, by the way, we appreciate everything you've done. We love you. And we want this to look good for you, as opposed to just getting walked out the door at 9 o'clock in the morning after 26 years. It was not good. But again, it was a redirect. And it took me a little bit of time on that one. That was like, oh, who am I without all this validation in corner office and all these, da 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 da. Who am I? I'm still fucking Chris. And now I have a whole shitload of time to do the things that I said I was going to do, but I didn't have time because I had an excuse. You see what I'm saying? So I had to call myself out on that in 2019. That's only 7 years ago. 7 years ago? Oh my God. 7 years ago. So I start coaching more. I start speaking more. I started this podcast January of 2019, right? November 7th or November 11th, whatever it was. I was like, go. And so then I got this opportunity to figure out who I am now at this stage of my life. And then COVID hit. And then I got to be home with my son and my wife. And I got to teach my kid and do kindergarten stuff and preschool stuff with them in the home. And I got to do all these different things. And I got to impact you guys and do the unfiltered experience during COVID and the Rainbows in Real Life show during COVID. I did a ton of lives and I did whatever I could do to inspire you guys to not be miserable. It was a redirect. So in your life, it's not rejection. It's not failure. It's not anything. Where am I being redirected right now? So I want you to write that down. Where am I being redirected right now? So the next thing we talk about, mindset shift, the mindset shift that turns rejection from a wound into wisdom. Okay. And again, perspective, attitude, and discipline. I'm going to talk about that word discipline because you have to have the discipline to get back up and dust yourself off, right? If you were the classic example is if you were a baby and you fell down too many times and got skinned up, you're going to spend the rest of your fucking life walking on your knees. Think about that. I have a few examples tonight that I thought about, analogies that I hope really click for you. Like riding a bicycle. I taught my son how to ride a bicycle. Holy shit, was that fucking painful. But I kept telling him, dude, please know this in your heart. You trust daddy? Yes. Okay. Once you can ride this bike, you're going to have so much freedom and it's going to feel so exhilarating. You're going to have so much fun. You're going to want to do it a ton and you're never going to have to learn how to ride a bike again. You will always know how to instinctively get on a bike and ride it. And so once he figured that out, once he kept doing that, because he wanted to give up many times, I did the training wheels, I did a strider bike, I did a balanced bike, I did all these different things. And then finally he got it. And guess what he said? Probably the second time we were riding, I forgot about it, I said this. He says, Dad, you're right. This is so exhilarating. I'm so glad I didn't give up. I'm so glad I didn't give up. What have you given up on? What have you given up on right now? What's the most recent thing that you've given up on that perhaps you should go back and revisit? Right? Oh, Chris, I've done it 100 times. Really? Tell me about the first 10. Well, there's this, then there's, well, I guess that was that. Okay, so there was only 3 times, but you just told yourself 100 times. So that's not working for you. Your choices and the way you speak to yourself are not working for you. You can't blame it on anybody else but the person in the mirror. So when I think about this, I go back to the simple. And I will get pushback on this, I guarantee you, from this broadcast, but everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. So when you think about that, going back to the female that was victimized by the priest, like, okay, Chris, what was the reason for that? That's malicious, all these different things. Again, okay, what can that person do from that? How many nonprofit organizations, how many rescue organizations, how many people are out there helping little kids being sex trafficked? I don't know exactly how to say that. I'm blown away that it fucking happens still, right? So that could be your greatest turning point. Writing a book, sharing your story, going on podcasts, letting other people know that it's okay and you can rise above this. How great is that? Like, I tell people that I was homeless, and I've talked to homeless organizations. I've done homeless kids. How'd you do it, Chris? You guys want to know what I said? I don't know if I should tell you. This is what I tell people. Carolyn Boyd says, yes, everything happens for a reason. Yeah, no, I get people pushing back on that. And fortunately, I'm pretty good with my words and my ability to ask questions that I get people to realize that. Again, it's your choice. It's your perspective. It's your attitude. That's yours. And it's not easy. It's not easy. Trust me, I get in those moments, man. I'm like, am I being a pussy or am I being a victor? You know, and I hate to, use those kind of words, but sometimes you have to say that to yourself. Am I being a pussy right now? Am I being a little shit? Why am I stomping my feet? What is it that perhaps my expectation was not realistic in? So again, taking that responsibility, that self-reflection. Hey, let me try this differently. Hey, maybe if I got a book on how to grow a stronger marriage, maybe if I read 5 books on making your marriage stronger, improving the communication in your marriage, maybe that would work. Maybe if I sat down and bought a couple of books, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, and gave that to my spouse, and we sat and we read each chapter, and then we would talk about it. Perhaps if we read 9 chapters of 3 different books, our relationship would improve. You get my point? Yeah, it's uncomfortable and it's awkward, but it's growth. Staying certain and staying in your safety zone is bullshit. We are here to live and experience and get bruised up and get fucked up. You know why? Because there's opportunities for out of that to become stronger. I'm 56 years old. I was just talking with a buddy of mine through text. I've known him since he was 16 years. I was like, dude, he's 41 now. It's like, what? I thought that he would be like 30 now and I'm 56, but no, life goes by so fast. And when I was talking to him, he has grabbed the bull by the horns in so many different industries and things that he's super successful. And he's out at 41 years old, driving his entire family around in a motorhome all around the United States. So how fucking cool is that? Again, right? Life is happening for you. And so here's another question that I love to say, and I will say it ad nauseum. What am I supposed to be learning right now? Life is about the questions you ask yourself and the honest answers that you give yourself, right? What am I supposed to be learning right now? Ooh, fucking, that I'm always going to get kicked around and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Is that an empowering statement? Yes or no? No. Okay. What would it be an empowering statement? This was not the right situation or the right person for me. And I'm thankful that I know now so that I can go out and find the right situation that I deserve. Do you hear that word I said? Deserve. What do you deserve? What do I deserve? Right? You think about all the shit we tolerate. We put up with stuff from our friends and our family and ourselves and all this stuff. We put up with it. We don't realize how much we put up with it. Right? You think about it. They talk about the phrase again. Here's one of those phrases: the straw that broke the camel's back. You know what broke the fucking back of the camel was all the other shit that went on there too, because we allowed it and we don't know it. We don't know our health. We don't know we feel a little bit worse over a period of time. And then we look back, we're like, man, why am I so this? And I'm so that. I'm going through that right now. I just found out that I have low oxygen in my blood. I'm potentially anemic. I don't even know how that happened. So I am researching all this shit. I'm taking the responsibility. I'm not even fucking working with my doctor necessarily, because he's like, oh yeah, just take a supplement, just take an iron supplement. You'll be all right. I'm like, no, my numbers have been gradually declining since 2019 again. That's interesting in those areas. So I'm like, what is the cause of this? Oh, it's just as it's like this bullshit excuse. I'm like, no, I can actually go on there. I'm a relatively intelligent person. If I can commit to maybe 10 hours of researching this and looking what other people have successfully done to improve those numbers using AI, using ChatGPT, can I get the answers and can I try some things and take responsibility for it and chart it? Right? Get out an Excel sheet, get out a Word document, get out a notepad, right? You get out a notepad and sit there and say, you know what, for the next 6 months, I'm going to be super intentional about whatever it is right now that's frustrating me the most in my life. And I'm going to track it. Where are the areas of frustration? What are the top 10 things I'm tolerating from other people, from myself, and from inanimate objects? And I'm going to sit there and I'm going to pledge, I'm going to commit, I'm going to have discipline to say, you know what, I'm checking 3 of those off. Checking 3 of those out. There's 3 tolerations here that I don't need to do. And I can tell you this from personal experience. When you do that, it pisses other people off. I had to tell a best friend of mine that we were best friends back in the 80s. Long story short, he was like, oh yeah, we should hang out and da-da-da. And this was probably 6 years ago. And I thought about it and I'm like, is there any value in this? Right? Really? No, we're totally different people. He bagged on me. There was all sorts of drama in between. Right? But I just sat there and I thought, I'm like, no, that was then, this is now. And so I wrote a really nice letter back to him. He sent me an email and I wrote a really nice letter back. And I said, hey, Robert, I appreciate it. Da, 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 da. I loved all these times. Remember that time we got kicked out of the David Lee Roth concert? Remember that time this, remember that time that, da, 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 da. I wish you all the best, right? Let's keep those memories. And if you need anything, of course, reach out, but I'm going to keep doing what I do, right? I didn't see any value out of revisiting that. And I mean, yeah, we could talk about music, but our politics were completely different. He was very antagonistic and angry and resentful, and he was a toxic person. And I choose not to have toxic people in my life. So I choose to have go-getters in my life, like Lee and Jock and Walt and Scott and Sally and Serena and Patricia. And I can just sit there and fucking name dozens of names of the people in my life that will see me doing shit and go, hey, Chris, is that up to par? Is that the kick-ass unstoppable way? Right. And so I think about this also. I think about, in terms of my son learning lessons. And so sometimes I don't touch the stove, don't touch the stove, don't touch the stove. Guess what I said? You better fucking believe it. I said, touch the stove. Touch the stove. Andrew Rimkus in the house. What's up, brother? I appreciate it. He says here, get out of self. Right? Yeah. I mean, get into self, get out of self. Andrew also says here, the road less traveled, learn from it. Yeah. So I told him to touch the stove. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you guys. Feel free to ask any questions. Feel free to ask any. This is live and we're going to have fun with this. But yeah, touch the stove. You know why? Because if you constantly don't know what the stove feels like, guess what? Then you accidentally touch it. You're like, what? No, touch it. The stove's hot. There's a lesson to be learned. Right? Should I automatically trust everyone? No. I mean, I do have a sense of trust for people, but pretty immediately I can tell whether my spidey senses say trust or not to trust. And guess what? I listen to them. Right? Listen to your whisper. Listen to your inner voice about the shift that's going on. Because when you think about the mind shift, like this topic we're on right now, the mind shift that turns rejection from a wound into wisdom, there has been so many times in my life, when I was drinking too much and my friends had a little mini intervention, like, Chris, you're a great party animal and we love being around you, but we're a little worried. Right. And so it was a wake up call for me to go, fuck you guys. Or yeah, you know what? I could put away a bottle of Jack pretty quick. That's probably not good. Right. So you got to listen. You got to be receptive to the situations in your life, because oftentimes we're our own worst enemy. So let's get into the next one. Where are we at? I'm not even watching the time. We're doing good on time. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys being here. If you guys are watching on the video cast, make sure you're on the podcast too. Give me some support there. Go to rawandunscripted.com and follow us on Spotify or Apple or iHeart or wherever you want to follow us. Support the show. My goal is to grow the show leaps and bounds. I've been pretty happy with it, but I've been kind of complacent as well. So again, don't stay in complacency, ladies and gentlemen. So I've been switching up the show this year quite a bit. I've been doing more solo shows because you asked to do that. Now you guys are asking for more guests. I'm here to serve. So, anyways, let's go on to the next one. How to stop negative self-talk that keeps you stuck in disappointment. Here's 2 words to eliminate: always and never. Can you imagine why? Always and never. Why? Those are pretty concrete statements. I always screw up. I never get it right. Okay. Tell me about 3 things in your life that you're most proud of. Oh, well, there's this and there's this and there's this. I'm like, okay, what did you do to experience that? Oh, I had to do this. I had to do this. I said, oh, so you had to get disciplined. You had to get clear. Why did you find the strength to be able to do that? Well, this and this and this and this and this. So let's look at our language, always and never. Let's replace that with possibilities and perhaps. Perhaps I wouldn't have a shitty memory if I didn't smoke so much pot. Perhaps I wouldn't have a shitty heart rate if I took better care of myself, right? Is it possible that if I investigate my own health stuff, is it possible that I can turn this around on my own and not have to depend on doctors and everything else in traditional medicine? There's actually a place I just signed up for. It's called functionalhealth.com. Functionalhealth.com. I invested in it. So it was under $500, but it's going to give me a battery of tests. It's going to be 150 blood tests plus 5 pre-cancer tests or cancer tests. So again, I'm not going to go to the doctor because you ask them for a fucking thyroid test that includes T4 and T3. And they're like, huh? Yeah. Fucking TSH is one number, but there's T3, there's T4, there's T4. There's so many different things. I spent a year studying endocrinology on my own because could swear to God I had a thyroid problem. And there's still parts of me that does, because I found research that when you have a testosterone deficiency, there's all sorts of different things going on, but it's so marginal. I can't get anybody to sit there. I went to an endocrinologist, a famous one here in Southern California. And I said, you're saying I'm within range, but I'm a different person than every single person here. What if I started up here and now I'm at the lower end? The nice lady told me I was fine. So I finally just had to accept it for what it is and move on. But when you think about, the negative self-talk, one thing I've done that has been very successful with my coaching clients, one person in my entire career as a coach has not wanted to do this, but I say, get a rubber band on your wrist. And when you catch yourself, I always screw up, snap that rubber band. No, I don't always screw up. Here's the 7 things that I've done fucking right in the last 2 weeks. Okay. So I don't always screw up. Guess what? I make mistakes sometimes, but do I learn from them? Yes and no. Okay. How can I do a better job of learning from these? So it's about awareness, right? You've heard me talk about this before. AAA, awareness, acceptance, and action. So I got to be aware of the situation first. I got to accept it. It is what it is, right? I'm dealing with back issues. I threw up for fucking 20 hours. It is what it is. I knew even when I was doing it, I'm like, this isn't going to last forever. I'm going to get through this. And guess what? Here's something that's really funny. I sat there and thought, this is fucking going to be a great ab workout for me. So throwing up and sweating, I'm like, ooh, if I was trying to cut weight for a fight or to look good for a magazine shot, I'm doing it right now. It is what it is. They're 5 powerful words. And sometimes we need to accept, right? A lot of times we don't need to accept the situation for what it is, but so oftentimes we don't accept it, but we don't change it. And then we just sit there in that middle part, right? When you think about that, are you sitting in the middle part? Because you're wasting time. You're wasting time. One of the biggest things I think about in my life is the end of my life. Now, I'm always honest with you guys. It fucking freaks me out. I'm 56 years old. I'm like, I do the math and think, holy shit, I hope I make it to 80. That's 24 years left. That's 24 summers. Right? When you think in terms of different numbers, like, oh, it's 24 years, it's long. Well, 20, how fast did the last 20 years go? 20 years ago, I was 36. 10 years ago, I was 46. I was bulletproof when I was 46. Guess what? Wheels started coming off the thing at 46. I had back surgery at 50. They want me to do more surgery. I say no. So when you think about this, I like to remind myself, and I've learned this from I've had the pleasure of speaking to rock stars, actresses, and actors. I've got friends in all those areas. I don't brag about it. Talked to millionaires, billionaires, coached a ton of people in my life. And I will tell you this, and I've had to remind myself of this very important fact so much, is that it is not about the destination. It is not. I just interviewed a guy on the show. I'm drawing a blank on his name. I could see his face. I just had him on not too long ago, and he was talking about the fact that it's the journey, not the destination. This is the journey, not the destination. I'll have to put it in the link. If you guys want it, let me know. But he was on the show, and it was a fabulous conversation. because it really is about the journey. Because I've seen so many people, oh, I'll be happy when I have money. Oh, I'll be happy when I have looks. Oh, I'll be happy when I lose weight. Oh, I'll be happy when I have a different job. Oh, I'll be happy when I have a house. Oh, I'll be happy when I have new tires. Oh, I'll be happy when this happens. I'll be happy when that happens. You're placing a contingency on your happiness, guys. So let me ask you this question. I was just asking this somebody earlier today. I was meeting with a potential coaching client, and I said, and they were talking about how bad everything is. And I said, is it bad enough where you want to give up? Because when you think about the intentionality of enjoying the journey, again, going back to what am I supposed to be learning? The destination is going to get you there, but if you don't work on what's inside, you're just covering it up. And so I've seen people. Was it Jim Carrey said, I wish everybody could achieve their dreams so they would realize that that's not what's going to happen. That's not what's going to fulfill them. It is the growth. It is about becoming that new person. I'm 56 years old. My son sees me watching YouTube videos and interviews and podcasts and stuff like that. He's like, Dad, why are you always doing that? How come you don't play more? You play guitar. It's because I'm learning. I'm growing my mind, because as I'm growing my mind, I'm learning more about myself. And I'm able to relax and let go a lot of the expectations that I used to have because they were based in ego. And we haven't talked about that tonight. The ego, right? What is your ego involved in all of this? Is it healthy? Is it hurting you? Is it protecting you? Is it damaging you? You know, so oftentimes we have, I'm going to prove to them, like, who fucking cares? I'm going to tell you something right now, guys. Nobody else fucking matters except for you. It doesn't matter what your mom thinks, your dad thinks, your husband thinks, your sister thinks, your son thinks, your best friends think, social media thinks. It doesn't fucking matter. You're going to be the one in the hospital bed one day. You're going to be the one that's having a heart attack going, shit, this is probably fuck. And you're going to have to decide in that moment, did I really live or did I just exist? You're going to have to think about, I think about that. I think about if I was on my deathbed right now, would I be happy with everything I achieved, or would I be like, oh shit, I really should have done this. And goddamn, I mean, I've written the book. The book isn't out, but I've written it. So I'm proud of that. I wouldn't be like, oh my God, my book never got published. It's in my letter of instructions, my death letter of instructions to my family to put it out. Like, just fucking put it on. Don't do a promo. Just put it out and say, hey, in honor of my dead husband, my dead dad, here's the book about my dad's life that changed. I feel good about that. That's fine. Have I impacted millions of lives? Not millions. Yeah, I don't know. Thousands, lots of thousands. Did I live on point? Did I try? I was just talking to one of my dear friends, Serena Buffalino. She was on the show just recently, leader of Help Heal Humanity. And she said something we were having a WhatsApp exchange, and she goes, when we die, Chris, we're going to definitely know that we tried. And at first, when I heard the word tried, I'm not a fan of the word try. You either do it or you don't. But also in that respect, I was like, that gave me permission. That gave me permission to relax and unclench my ass to think, yeah, I fucking try. I was sicker than shit for 20 hours. And I got up Monday after not eating anything for 2 days. And I walked 2 miles to school and back to drop my son off for the first day of school in the sun. Like, my wife said, are you sure? I was dizzy. I fucking was walking all over the place. I didn't know my ass from a hole in the ground. But guess what? I got up and I got dressed. I didn't take a shower. I did the poor man shower. But I've said, I am not going to not take my son to school today. If I fucking fall down or I can't make it, you can get the car and pick me up. So when we say we try, that wasn't even trying. That just, I made up in my mind, I'm doing this. I'm not going to, no. So what I want you guys to do is to put that in your brain, like, well, I regret not doing that later. I've got that as a particular action item here in a second. So here's my challenge. And here's something else you can do. This is kind of a fun thing. I put this down here. I've done it myself and I've had my clients do it, and it's fun. So on negativity or anything, really, you could do it. I love to do it with negativity. Do a negativity 30-day challenge. I was thinking about doing this actually with the Raw and Unscripted group on Facebook and saying, hey, let's do a 30-day challenge where we're very aware of our negative self-talk or just being negative in general. Like, if we can catch that, when you catch that and you snap that rubber band and you redirect that, guess what? You're able in your brain to realize that you're heading to that direction, and you stop yourself before you even get there. Like, and you'll be like, ooh, I almost said never. I almost said always. You know what? I don't always screw things up. And perhaps, again, going back to that word, perhaps if I address these things, maybe I go back and talk to my last 3 boyfriends and say, what is it really about me that made you break up with me? Like, yeah, that fucking hurts and that sucks to hear it. But guess what? Then you can sit there and say, you know what? Oh, I nagged too much. Okay, I need to work on my nagging. I didn't clean up after myself. Okay, well, a few people said that. That seems to be a thing, and I know I do that. It's just me. Okay, no, it's not just you. You fucking pick up your clothes. I'm dealing with that with my son right now. I'm like, when you take your clothes off, instead of throwing them on the floor, just throw them in the hamper. That's all you got to do. Just put them in the hamper. So that way I don't have to come in here every 3 days and go pick up all your clothes and put them in the hamper. And so that way you don't have to be frustrated with me going, Dad, why do you always tell me to pick up my clothes? Because that's where they go, right? And I walk them into my room like, here's my hamper. Here's what I got to do. And I tell them, I get down on this level. And I'm like, you know what, dude? There's so much stuff I do not want to do. Like I tell him, you got to take a bath tonight. He's like, I don't want to take a bath. I'm like, can you please not do that? It's very frustrating when I come to you and I say, hey, we got to do this. And we're going to do this and you're going to do it, but you give me shit for doing or wanting to do it. It's like, that makes me not want to let you do the thing you were doing before. Right. We're working on that. He's 8 years old. So we're in a very fun time, but again, enjoy the journey. So here's my direction on this one, right? I'm giving you lots of direction tonight, guys. I'm your coach. Pick 2 actions you've been putting off and just go fucking do them. What have you been putting off? I've been putting off something. I have to actually, it's a crazy thing, but I actually have to find a mobile RV mechanic and have him come out here and fix the wiring plug that goes from the trailer to my truck. And I've not wanted to deal with that because guess why? I'm not afraid, but I am fearful that the information is going to be very expensive or time consuming, or there's other shit that's wrong. And I don't want to face that. But I'm pretty sure it's going to probably be $100 fix. And I'm going to look back and go, shit, Chris, you should have fucking called somebody before and not sat there and had this weigh on your mind all this time, because it's ridiculous, because you have to get it fixed because you're going camping. So what are you putting it off for? So just fucking do it. Let's do it. Let's put it on the calendar right now for tomorrow from 11 to 1. And you spend time researching and calling all mobile RV mechanics, and you get somebody out here to fix it. And then you'll feel accomplished. And then you'll feel like, oh my God, I've been procrastinating on that thing and it wasn't that bad. Because here, I will tell you something that I hear a lot. Chris, I wish I would have done it sooner. Chris, I wish I would have done it sooner. I wish I would have talked to my husband sooner. I wish I would have left my job sooner. I wish I would have started my company sooner. I wish I would have stopped tolerating so much shit. God, Chris, thank you so much for telling me that. The people in my group coaching program told me that. They even said, oh my God, the tolerations exercise was fucking key. Now I sit there and look, okay, am I tolerating that? Why am I have to tolerate that? I mean, there's things in life we have to tolerate, right? But there's a lot of things we don't. We don't. And we tolerate a lot of stuff that needs to be fixed. And I do that too. It's like, oh, the light switch or this or that. And it's like, just fucking do it. So pick 2 things and go do it. All right. How are we doing on time? Ooh. God damn, I talk a lot. I love you guys. You getting value out of this? Put it in the comments. Tell me what value you're getting out of this. Tell me which strategy so far you're going to implement. Put it in the comments. Come on, man. Interact with me. Let me know I'm not just sitting here by myself. By the way, in case you saw my social media post, I said that my Loki was my associate producer. He is right there. There's Loki. How do you do this on the camera? There's Loki right there. So, yeah. So when I said my associate producer was going to be joining me, there you go. There you go. You know what other thing I thought about doing? I'm going to give you guys a tour of my studio. I'm actually going to I'm redoing a few things. I just got myself a nice, really big curved monitor. Ooh, I dig that. You guys are going to trip out. I'm not a big fan of technology. My camera works and it works nice. But guess what? I got a new camera. So streaming camera. Just wanted to tell you that. Not sure what. Okay, so what do we got to the specific actions you can take immediately to reset and bounce back? Dennis Nermella, what's up, man? You're missing a great show. Get back and watch the beginning of it, brother. Appreciate you being here. The specific actions you could take to reset and bounce back. And this is not a sales pitch at fucking all. But hire a coach, even a therapist, join a mastermind, join a networking group, do something to get around people like myself, like Sally, like Walt, like Lee, like Scott, all the different people I have in my life. Get people in your life that, again, you can go to and say, hey, I've been going through some stuff right now. Can I talk to you? Yeah. Okay. And be honest. Like, I'm just going to lay it out on the line. I'm scared. I'm fearful. I'm apprehensive. I've been procrastinating. What 3 areas do you think I need to work on to grow my podcast? What 3 areas do you think I need to grow on? I've had people tell me like, Chris, why don't you not do when I wanted to be more of a professional speaker. And I did that for a long time, but I don't want to do it anymore. I don't like to travel, and I've let that go. If I get called to do something special, I'll do it, but I'm not actively trying to be a professional speaker anymore. The whole industry has changed. There's so many fucking frauds in the personal growth industry. I don't want to be involved in it. I do my part right here. I do my coaching. I help people. I volunteer. I do those things. It's just not in my cards anymore. And I talk to people and they're like, hey, Chris, how bad do you want to become a speaker? And so I had to sit there and really think about it, and I had to let it go. I didn't have to let it go. I wanted to let it go. And once I decided to let it go, guess what? I felt a feeling of relief. I'm like, you know what? There's a reset. There's a bounce back is having people in your life being able to say, hey, Chris, and ask you questions. So, I mean, that's what I do as a coach. I ask you questions. I just ask you questions, and you sit there and go, oh shit, I didn't think about that. And then I'm like, okay, what actions can you take from this point forward? Not looking back, because you can't even go back. You can't drive in the rearview mirror. You can't do that. I've given you guys so many analogies tonight. You have to go forward. You can't not only go forward, you have to fucking like build some momentum, build some steam, build some courage. Get up in the morning and say, hey, today I'm going to own the day. You know what? Today I'm going to do something that I'm really proud of. So when I go to bed tonight, I can fucking feel a sense of accomplishment. Right? So oftentimes we get up and, oh man, today's going to suck and traffic's going to be bad. My boss is going to be in a fucking bad mood. I got to deal with a customer and da-da-da. Well, if you got fired tomorrow, would you be bitching about your job, or would you be like, oh, because I've seen a lot of people bitch about their job. I hate my job. I hate my job. I hate my job. I hate my job. Years and years and years and years. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Nothing. Get fired. Oh, fuck. And then they can't get it. It's like, come on. Right. So when you think about what specific actions you could take, please surround yourself with the people in your life, like myself. Like if you can't afford coaching and you're not into it, whatever it might be, show up for the podcast, show up, go to the YouTube channel and check. There's 1,000 videos of me now on YouTube, 60-second videos. There's tons of 60-second videos. There's 3-minute videos. There's 15-minute videos. There's hour videos. There's all sorts of content right there. Like just make it a pledge to yourself to go watch 3 different podcasters and take a couple of strategies a week and implement them in your life. And just go for it. Don't worry about the failure. Don't worry about the mistakes. Don't worry about what other people think. Just do what you want to do in your heart of hearts, right? Get specific. I think about I can never say the word specificity. See, that's another I just caught myself being negative. Did you just catch that? I just caught that, right? Here's another thing I want you to think about, because I know we're getting around on time right now. Here's something else to think about that's big time. Like when somebody's telling me something and I'm like, what do you think you should do? I'm like, I don't know. I distract from that. And then I come back. I'm like, who do you love the most in this world? My son, my daughter, my mom, my best friend. I'm like, why do you love them so much? Well, because of this, because of this, because of this. I'm like, have they ever come to you with any problems and situations? Yeah. What have you said? I always try to see their side of things and try to give them advice and give them opportunities and, give them support and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, so let's say your daughter comes to you, and then I'll try to find a way to rephrase their problem in a different way. Sometimes I'm not great at it. Sometimes I just ask, okay, what would you tell your daughter in this situation? It depends on the person, but I try to find a way. Okay, so what if your daughter came to you and she had a problem with a coworker at work who was doing this? What do you think you might say? What questions do you think you might ask her? And it's funny, guys, and this is true. When it's somebody else, I've never met a person, if I could sit there and say, God, I've got a problem. I've got a friend that's got a problem. Well, you should fucking tell him to do this. And you should tell him to do this. You should tell him to do this. And I love the hypocrisy in a lot of things that people tell you that the other person should do that they're not doing. And I have to sit there and go, well, that's really interesting. Okay, great advice. But have you ever considered following that for yourself? That's one thing. That depends on the person. But again, if you think about the person that you love the most in your life, going through the problem that you're experiencing right now, would you just go, yeah, I'm sorry, Scarlett, I can't give you any advice. I don't know what to do. I think you're screwed. I don't know. Google it. Yeah. No, you'd be like, well, what about this? And what have you thought about this? And no, you've done this. And no, you've done that. This is why you need to communicate with people. This is why it's so important to have a therapist or a coach, somebody you can go to and not have to worry what they think, right? I go to a therapist and I'm like, bam, 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 bam. What are your thoughts on that, doc? And oftentimes in my therapy, because I go there with a very specific intention and very specific questions, I find that I have to help the therapist. And that's the God's honest truth. I had a therapist on the floor one time, clinical social worker, something like that. I mean, not a psychiatrist or psychologist, but it was a therapist. And yeah, she was on, after I asked her a couple of questions, she was on the floor. She started telling me shit. And I'm like, oh yeah. Okay. I got to be careful about that. But I was at the therapist one time and I was ready to give up on her. And she said, Chris, when did you stop being a kid? And that question opened up my perspective in so many different ways that I allowed myself to explore that. And I figured about 7, 8. Yeah. I'm like, oh, then she said, what are some things you could do now to be more kid-like? And this was before my son was born. And I said, well, I can play guitar. I can do my car models. I can work on my 69 Charger. I can work on my street legal dune buggy, blah, 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 all these different things. He goes, how come you don't do it? And I said, because I'm so focused on achieving. How's that working out for you? Why are you so focused on achieving? I think I'm trying to prove my mom that I can live without her. I don't know. Right. You just get honest with your feelings, get honest with whatever it is, and then go take action. I mean, that's the whole point of this conversation tonight, because the last topic we're going to talk about, and I might go a little bit over, but I apologize. The last bullet point that I was giving you guys is the real talk about the cost of staying down and versus the rewards of getting back up. There is a great book out there, and I've recommended it many times here on the show. And I'm going to say it again in case you're a first-time listener or in case you haven't been paying attention. The 5 Regrets of the Dying. I've read probably thousands of books by now. That book was probably the most uncomfortable book I ever had to read. And I'm so glad I read it. Like when you think about those times in your life where your life takes a twist. And the top regret, this is a hospice nurse, in case you don't understand, hospice nurse that when you're actively dying, they can't do anything else for you. They give you a hospice nurse and they give you medication. They make sure you're comfortable. They listen to you, they're not going to help you with your cancer or whatever it might be, but they're going to make you comfortable and know that that's just your end of life program. So the hospice nurse sat there and wrote a book called The 5 Regrets of the Dying. And the first regret, number one regret, is that people lived the life they thought they were supposed to live rather than the life they wanted to live. So are you living the life you want to live right now? Yes or no? It's not a yes and or a no and. Am I living the life I want to live right now? No. Okay, I want to be a movie star. I want to be a rock star. I want to be $1 million. I want to have 17 houses. Is that realistic? No. Your expectations are not realistic unless you're 20 years old and da 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 da. So what about that is important to you? Security. Ultimately, with all these different things, I want money and da da da. I want security. I'll be safe. I'll be okay. Because I've proven this. One of the most common phrases that I can say to somebody is, you know what, Sally? It's going to be okay. You're going to be fine. This is just a moment in the road that's a hiccup, but I can guarantee you this little bump in the road is going to be a jump to the next thing you're going to do. You just have to trust and you have to believe. For those of you guys who are looking on or listening on the podcast, I'm showing up my bracelets. I sell these. I do a shitty job of promoting them, but I have it says believe on one side. It says no excuses. It's a big blue rubber bracelet with white embossed lettering. And this one says unstoppable. And that side says no excuses. So you can see on the camera, there's believe. That's from my friend Patricia. That's a long story. And there's the unstoppable. I wear them on myself. So sometimes I have to look down and go, hey, Chris, are you unstoppable? Am I? And the other thing is like, who's watching you? Like my son's watching me, and I've thought about like not doing the podcast anymore. I've thought about all sorts of different things. And I thought I can't be a hypocrite to my son to say not to give up. I'm like, Dad, why did you give up on that? Why didn't you do that? So sometimes we need to be the inspiration for other people in our lives. And sometimes we don't know that, who we are an inspiration for. I hear people all the times at a funeral, like my aunt didn't know that she was the person that I admired the most. Why didn't you fucking tell your aunt? Like, tell your aunt that you admire her the most. And like, okay, now that she's dead, yeah, it sucks. But what are the 3 qualities from your aunt that you're going to implement in your life to make sure that you shine brighter? And that this all didn't happen for nothing. That of course you're sad because the person's gone, but you get to maintain their memory and maintain the vigilance of what they stood for, right? What are you standing for? Because when you look at your life, let's just like go back to the 30,000 foot view. When you look at your life, here's another example. I'll give you another example. Have you had a bad dream? Yes or no? Yes, we've all had bad dreams. We've woken up and what happens? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. What the fuck was that? Oh my God, I just fell off the Empire State Building and smashed into the ground. Yeah, nothing happened. You were laying in your bed, but the power of your mind, guys and gals, the power of your mind told your entire fucking body that you were falling through the air off the Empire State Building, or you're being chased by a shark, or you were running in jello, all the different bad dreams. but your body manifested it based on what your mind told it. So how about telling your body different things? How about spending a couple of minutes every single day and visualizing how you're going to be in 6 months? Like in 6 months, I would really love to see myself 10 pounds lighter without 3 of the tolerations I currently have and doing these 3 things that I said I was going to do, but I haven't. Like visualizing how would I feel? How would I feel as somebody who accomplished these 3 things? Because so oftentimes we'll say, I'll feel that when I have the money. I'll feel that when I have the success. I'll feel that when I have the TV show. How about just feeling it right now and being excited? Like I'm excited that I get to push myself. I'm excited I get to get out of my comfort zone. I was telling my friend Serena today, I said, it might be that I'm going to focus on being a dad for the next 10 years of my life. And at 66, maybe I publish 3 books and I go on a fucking speaking tour of the world. I don't know. I don't know what God has planned for me. All I know is that my intentionality is to serve and to grow and to love and to be a voice of reason and to be a straight shooter and to be a great dad and be a great friend and to love music and to go see concerts and bring this world together. As long as I'm doing that, it doesn't matter what the fucking outcome is, as long as I'm doing it. Right? I see so many people, how would you be with your, I would do this and I would do this. How about doing that right now? How about doing a form of that? Maybe I can't do the entire thing, but can I do 5%? Can I act as if? Can I act as if I was already the entrepreneur? Can I act as if I was already this? Can I do that? Can I not snow myself? But also, how would I walk right now if I was a fucking millionaire? How would I walk? How would I act? You know what? I tip good. I went and picked up my food last night. It was my wife's birthday, and she wanted to go to this restaurant that didn't deliver, but she was feeling sick, so I drove the 30 minutes down there, and when I got there, she gave me the ticket, and I'm like, okay, I'm just picking up the food. Tip? No tip? I don't know. And I thought about it in that moment. I'm like, she put extra rolls in the dinner and and she showed me the dinner, everything was good. I gave her a full 20% tip. That's, you give, right? You give, you make. She's like, oh my God, sir, thank you so much. Most people don't even pay attention to when they pick up the food to give us a tip. I'm like, I know what you guys are going through. You make money on your tips. It may go to feed your kids. I don't know what it is. For me, it was, I don't know, $20 on an $88 order. I don't know what it fucking was, but that made that person's day, that $20, right? I could have just said, yeah, nope, you didn't do anything. I just picked up my food. I'm going to deliver it myself. But make a difference. Do those things, right? Keep your promises to yourself. Keep your promises to yourself. My friend Serena's here. Hi, Serena. I don't know if you got the beginning of this podcast, but I was talking about you in our little conversation today. So thank you, my dear. See, this is what it means to have people in your life that support you, that you can have vulnerable conversations with. We had a vulnerable conversation today. We always do. She was just on the show a couple of weeks ago. Go check it out. Serena. Oh, the other guy I was telling you about before was Eric Jackson. I was referring to a podcast earlier, Eric Jackson, podcast 304. That was on June 16th, I think. So podcast 304, Eric Jackson, check it out. That was a really, really great conversation. They're all great conversations, but that one I would highly check out. But Serena was on, when were you on, Serena? You were on, what the heck? Serena Buffalino, 327. So you were just on in August. So you were just on recently. So go check out Serena's, but the whole thing out of this, guys, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I've told you how I'm taking responsibility just in today for my health. I signed up. I got my life scan. I signed up for functionalhealth.com. I ordered some supplements that Serena suggested to me to help me deal with my anemia. I was looking into liquid IV therapy. I was looking into iron therapy. I was asking ChatGPT, if you had these symptoms, what things would you suggest? So again, you take responsibility for your actions. Don't bitch about it. Don't be complacent. Don't be a victim. Be a victor. Be kick-ass unstoppable. I appreciate you guys. Make sure that you come back here again next Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Please, if you got value out of this, and I know you did. If you didn't, then I'm not sure what's wrong. But if you got value out of this, please share this on social media with a few words and say, hey, check out this guy. He was talking about how to bounce back. He gave a ton of suggestions. I gave you a shitload of suggestions tonight. But the question is, what are you going to do? I can inspire the shit out of you. I can make you think differently. I can invite you to do all that stuff, but you sit there and turn this off and then you go put on Law and Order and go back to your same shit, then that's on you. But I can promise you this, that it will be uncomfortable. It'll be scary. It'll be all these different things, but it'll be exciting. It'll be exciting. Stephanie, you can go, this is on replay. You guys can catch this anytime. All of my shows are on replay. You can go on youtube.com. / Christopher Rausch. Yeah, this is, you can watch replay on this. If you're watching on Facebook, you can watch it right after this. So Stephanie's sitting there saying that she missed it, but no, this is a fantastic conversation. I have to say so myself. Carolyn Boyd says, thank you. No, thank you guys. Thank you guys. This, the show lives and breathes at rawandunscripted.com. If you guys want, I'll just type this down here in the chats, because sometimes people like to see it. rawandunscripted.com. Podcast is available everywhere. The podcast will be up tomorrow. I give you guys a little sneak peek by doing the video cast the day before. Some people dig that, like, oh man, Chris, I love watching the video cast because I feel like I get a sneak peek. Got Margaret in the house, a fellow coach. What's up, Margaret? Good to see you. Thank you. Says, great job, Chris. She's watching from LinkedIn. I think so myself. I actually might have to go back and listen to this to make sure that I take my own advice. But thank you guys for in allowing me to be in your home, in your life. Again, if you want to join my group coaching program, you can do that. If you want one-on-one coaching, if you've never had a coaching session with me and you want to explore that, feel free to reach out to me. I'll give you a free complimentary coaching session. I'm not doing that too much anymore, because I find that people just want the session, then they don't do anything about it. But I mean, sometimes, I don't know, people are funny. That's my own thing. So thank you guys for being here. Robert Brooker, you are most welcome, sir. Thank you for always sharing this out. And I will be back here next week. And again, if you want to give me some subject titles, send me an email, info@noexcusescoach.com, or go to rawandunscripted.com, or send me anything on social media. My email is christopher@christopherrausch.com. Whatever. It's all good. Let's rock and roll. Let's make this world a better place. Let's not focus on the negativity and the bullshit. Let's listen and be a part of the solution. Nellie says here, Christopher, you have helped me live a better life with all your advice since I first saw your Facebook years ago. Thank you, my dear. I appreciate that. Actually, Angel, who is a dear friend of mine here on Facebook land, she has been on the journey since the beginning. So she still sends me shows that were like show number 12. She's like, oh my God, Chris, this is back when you were on Speaking to the Heart Network. So I appreciate all you guys. I know there's a ton that watch that don't comment. You guys are watching on your phone in bed and stuff like that. So thank you. I'm going to go enjoy my family. I'm going to go enjoy my moments, and I'll see you here next week on the Raw and Unscripted show. Stay unstoppable.